stereo.
Yell,
Scream bravo.
Also, if you didn't know, this is called the show.
Hey yo, Doug.
What?
Put your ballies on.
Yo, Rick, I was about to, but I need the shoe home.
Why?
Because the shoes always hurt my gone.
6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes to get fresh. You're on.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Come on.
Come on.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Come on.
Come on.
Yo, what's wrong with
Well,
that?
I don't know. They're late. Told them the time. Oh, I forgot the day.
Man, you did it again. Oh, no. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. Come on. Here we go. No, 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 we didn't.
What?
No, 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 we didn't.
What?
No, we didn't.
Well, don't get us wrong. Excuse me, Daggy. Excuse me, Daggy. Excuse me, Daggy. Fresh, you're on. On.
Well, it started off on 8th Avenue when I made up the name called the Hit Fresh Crew. It was me, my two DJs, Joel and Barry, and my right-hand man, Ricky D. I used to rap and sing, make sounds and things. And for example, here's a telephone ring. Hello? Is that your question? No, it's not it right now. But anyway, no more delay. Just check out the new style I display. Now you gotta be to rock with, and I'm D-O-U-G-I-E, and I'm known for the not for the human beatbox of the entertainer. No other title can fit me plainer. In a passing generation, I am a remainer, and I'm also known as the beatbox trainer. Cash and check, make sound effects, and after I'm finished rocking, Slick Rick is on
You know
next.
it.
Slick Rick.
Well, here's a little something that needs to be heard. Doug, I was going downtown. Word. All alone, no one to be with. Stepped on the deep chain at 205th. I saw a pretty girl. So I sat beside her. Then she went real like she was Tony the Tiger. I said, hold on, there's been a mistake. Honey, my name's Slick Rick, not Frosty Flakes.
Oh, golly,
Yo,
wow.
she was raised in hell. She said, my name is Maggie, but call me Michelle. Michelle, my bell, Sunday monkey, fun champion on some, getting on some. Slick Rick and I'm rock that house, you know what I'm saying? And when I'm on the mic, there won't be no delaying. Bust a move, we show and prove. Hey yo, Doug, do that record jam on the groove.
Rise and shine. Saturday morning has finally arrived. It's Let's Be Clear with your host, Queen Lady D, Lady Grace, and the Mix Master, DJ K. Nicky, IXS Radio.
Good morning. Yes, we're back. I got my voice back. You hear me? Y'all hear me?
That's why you don't act.
Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me?
We heard you last
Can y'all
week.
hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
Do you hear me?
We hear you.
Do you hear me now, Al? Welcome to the Let's Be Clear radio show live here on IXS Radio on this beautiful Saturday morning.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's beautiful because...
We're here.
No, because today is the day that the Lord has made. So we will be blessed and rejoice in it, right?
Wow.
All right. That's what we do here. I don't know where that came from. However, I am your host, Lady D.
Word.
And we got Lady Grace.
Good morning.
We got DJ K. Nicky.
Hey, let's go.
We got the engineers of all engineers. Big Al.
Of course, the voice of our access, Big Al.
Oh,
And we
know
got
how it's going
special
down.
guests.
he wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't want me to say nothing today?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Jeez,
All you gotta do is say shut up.
That wouldn't work. I told you to do that last week and you didn't do it. So just go right on ahead. I'm sorry. Say good
I'm
morning
done.
to them.
I'm done.
Go about your business.
you done and you finish.
He finished and he done. We got special guests backed by popular demand.
Woo!
Crazy Harry.
What's up?
What's up, Crazy
welcome.
Harry?
Welcome.
We're gonna get into an interview with Crazy Harry a little bit later, but business first.
Excuse him.
So
You forgot.
That was sort of a long pause.
because
had
you
to
know,
gather
here's the
what it
deal.
was?
Listen, no. Because social media, the news, and just ignorant people in general. So I've been watching the news lately, right? And we're gonna get to everything, but the first thing I wanted to talk about was Joe Biden.
With touching.
I had a discussion about this, and this man did nothing wrong. Because how many people that's going for president or in political office, they go, they shake hands, they give hugs, they might kiss somebody on the forehead or whatever. When was he being inappropriate?
I don't know. I never watched him. I didn't even realize he was doing that. I don't know.
But I mean, everybody does that. When the president
was
said
it?
grab them in the, you know what, and he was
Nobody
grabbing,
said,
no,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And the discussion that I was having earlier about this was because he's about the only candidate that can probably beat him.
Mhm.
So
They
they're gonna
find
try to
something.
dig up anything because there was so many. There were women that said that he wasn't like it wasn't a sexual assault. They just felt uncomfortable by a hug and an embrace.
Well, some people with their personal space, you know.
But here's my problem with the whole situation. This is what presidential candidates do. This is what politicians do. They've been doing it for years. They pick up babies, they hug people, they embrace people, and now all of a sudden they want to make it an issue. Come on,
because it's him.
they're just a little too sensitive with this. They need to stop. Crawl back in your hole. If you don't want to be receptive to what they're doing, don't come to the event.
Right.
Okay? But don't point fingers at somebody who's trying to do something for this country.
Yeah, that I was like, you know what? I'm so tired. And don't get me wrong. If somebody is sexually assaulting someone or they feel like they're being the Me Too's of the now, then those people need to, you know, speak up and speak out.
Right.
But not for a hug. I mean, come on. If that's the case,
They won't
I don't
hug
know.
nobody.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when somebody comes, if I don't want to,
You know, that's that
Give 'em
elbow.
a
You know how
hand,
you,
right.
Yeah.
The elbow,
like
like
that.
that.
Like
in the
some
hand.
dog, yeah, but
Yeah, so
you
that
don't
to
have
me,
to hug them.
that to me is
Don't.
just
Yeah.
is just
It's going too far.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's
They
really
reaching.
going.
Yeah, I go like this. He be like, "Oh my God,
Oh my
she
God,
said
he
she
just
assaulted."
came out.
Yeah,
Come
like
on, like,
come on,
stop.
man. Like, walking, poor man.
So
Yeah.
we can't go around hugging dudes no more because they might think.
might do the B3 2.
The B3 too?
Yeah.
She said the
They
B3
should.
too.
Yes.
Funny. But the other thing is that you know, he made light of it to let people know that, you know, I'm not unconscious. I understand what's going on. So he made light of it to kind of let people know, okay, I'm addressing this, but I'm gonna keep it light so that's not a big issue. And they even got a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know. So again,
Just people. Yeah.
people need
That's
to
the world,
really
yeah.
crawl back in their box and stop judging others, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is a dynamic that has been in place for so many years. Now all of a sudden it's a problem.
Because of who it is.
Because exactly.
Can I chime in?
Of
Sure.
course.
I feel like he's an older dude, and you know they was talking about a kiss on the forehead, and whatnot. Like that's normal stuff for like older men.
The
Older,
old school,
right?
yeah.
When
Yeah.
older elders, when they greet you either on the cheek or the forehead. Usually
Right.
it's the forehead. So
Yeah.
maybe they didn't grow up in,
Yeah, I don't
back
know.
then.
Well,
But
you know what happened why they started doing it on the forehead, right?
Here we go.
I don't want to know.
No, go ahead. No, I'm on.
Yeah.
Cause you
the
know your
edges-
grandpa and them, they had no teeth in their mouth.
Yeah,
They used to be.
Go ahead. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because we don't got edges no more.
Well, it got nothing to do with the edges, but them foreheads, them five heads, some of the women got out there, boy. I tell you,
They love to.
look like a giant TV on their forehead.
That's messed up.
Excuse me.
'Cause I got
75
a
inch.
forehead.
You
I
ain't
got a
right.
forehead.
You ain't
Excuse
right.
me.
75
You
inch.
ain't right.
Hello. Excuse me.
I know
Yeah,
you ain't
right?
talking. I
Excuse
know
me.
you ain't talking. I'll probably take a remote right now and get cable on your forehead.
Man, we'll see the rocket go to the moon on your head.
Oh, you are,
My forehead is big.
oh, you co-signing that today?
No, you.
Are you co-signing that today?
No, I know my forehead big, so I could talk. See, forehead.
Before you got a five
I
head.
got five.
You got five of them.
Conversation before about the forehead.
Huh?
Did we have this conversation
About
about,
the
the
guys,
forehead? About
the
the
guys.
guys.
that
Yeah,
have
but
a
then
big
it's gotta be
forehead.
square. If it's square, then they crazy. They crazy.
His square or straight? Which one?
It's a little rounded, so he's half crazy.
Oh.
Oh,
Like
laugh
Music
crazy.
Soul Child, he half crazy.
Oh, boy. And she calling people name out on the air. That's
Don't worry, I'm retarded.
I didn't say you was retarded.
Now you said I'm not retarded. Now that we on air, just say I'm retarded. It's all right.
Let's say I'm retarded. It's all right.
I'm not gonna do that.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So for all those people that feel that he's being inappropriate, it's like Al said, go back in your box. Come out when you see the light of day, right, Al?
Amen.
I think there's gonna be a lot of that though. That's
It
the
is
sad thing.
throughout the whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah, they're gonna try-
everybody's gonna
they don't
be
want him
caught
to
in
run.
the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want him in there.
He should do it. And too bad Obama won't run as his vice president
Right.
because that'll be a way to stick it to them.
Like we're back. Yeah.
You're right.
That would be a way to stick it to them. Like, you know what? Just when y'all thought it was over,
Yeah.
We are back.
you know. Anyway,
Obama said he enjoying his family.
he said, "Yeah, he said I
he
don't
ain't
want no
trying
more
to
of those
come down here.
shenanigans.
Yeah.
Right.
See, y'all didn't
did what
want
I
me when
had
you
to do.
had me.
Yeah.
Now you don't got me. Now you want
right.
me. I ain't coming back.
Yep.
I wish he would though, because a lot of stuff, the weather. You know, the weather's bad now.
I told you why. I told you. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah, because
I told
Obama's
you.
not in office.
Right.
You know, it's all of this stuff going on. It's more shootings and killings.
So
You know.
you got
Because the Antichrist is in there.
Yeah, the Antichrist.
him in the damn seat.
That's the Antichrist, like she said.
Mother Nature got it jacked up. She
You
confused.
know, she mad. Yeah.
She mad like we mad.
But we ain't got to suffer. Just go on
Listen.
top of the White House and just rain.
Put
Let
that-
it rain. through
put
the
that
way.
cloud
Ain't
over there, right?
Yeah. Why we got to suffer?
Yeah.
What was
so-
that commercial back in the days? You don't want to fool Mother Nature.
What was that? What was? You don't want to? Yeah. See, I remember that commercial.
Yeah, you had
But
a,
what it was for?
Yeah. Must have been for
it was a
female,
blue bonnet
right?
butter or something.
Oh, I think so.
It was a butter commercial.
Yeah, you. Oh.
Yeah, you are. Sorry. I'm just saying.
I'm just
That's two for you today,
What?
DJ
How many
K.
did I
Nikki.
get?
That was
That's
two.
two.
That's the
That's
How
two,
many do I
right?
get?
I'm keeping count.
Wait,
You
how
only
many
get
do
2.5.
I get?
She only get 2.5.
Was
Okay.
it an hour?
You got
And then after that, we start over again?
No, ain't no starting over. That's for the whole entire
Oh,
day.
the whole show?
The whole entire
after
day.
The show, the day.
The whole day. You only get 2.5. You already at 2.
You got a half left. Use it wisely.
All right.
So what you gonna do with it? You scared? You scared of
I
Al?
don't like this. I don't like pressure like this. Leave me alone.
Anyway.
Going through
So
counseling.
the next you going through counseling?
I don't like being
There,
pressured.
there was a lot of stuff that happened this week. You know,
Really?
there was a
Yeah,
lot
it
of gun
was.
violence. I don't know when is it gonna stop? That's what I want to know.
I think it's getting worse.
It's getting worse
gonna
because, and it's happening. It's not just happening abroad. It's happening in every community. Like I was on my way to work one day this week, and we were trying to get from point A to point B, and we couldn't get there because all we heard was police sirens and you see the detectives and they running up on sidewalks and they driving crazy and everything. And when we got to this one block, we saw what happened. Someone had shot somebody in the back, and the guy's laying out on the street. And everybody, and you know, and today, some people was like they shouldn't record it or whatever because it's too much for people's family to see.
Yeah, see that,
I'm
yeah.
with
But
that.
here's the deal. When you do record it, and if you start recording from the beginning, that's how
That's
they get
evidence.
to know who is the person that did that.
But
Yeah,
how
but
you
give it to
gonna-
the
how
police. Don't post it
right.
on
Why you
Facebook.
posting
Yeah,
it on social
but,
media?
you know, there-
How are you going to be able to record from the beginning if you don't know something can go down?
Because
Yeah,
you're
that
standing
too.
there.
Yeah, but
You could
what
be
are
standing there
recording
and you don't know,
for? Yeah.
like, why
Like
you
they-
just recording just to record?
Yeah, some people, as soon as the arguments start,
They start doing
they
it.
start
Yeah,
recording.
when you could tell it's coming, you know, like due to the screen, World Star.
Yeah, then
you
they
know,
start
but they didn't know it was
recording.
gonna go that far.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think I'll be
I'm-
running during that time. Once I
yeah,
hear
we
somebody
know
say
you're
World
smart.
Star,
Why
I
we
start
standing
screaming.
here?
I'm not gonna be like there.
You know what I mean? Like,
and they
you
shoot
hear
it,
World
I'm like,
Star
I'm
and you
not
just
there,
stand
I'm
there
not a
not knowing
reporter.
what's going to transform
You know,
after
honestly,
that.
I might watch, but like from a distance, you know.
Zoom in, right?
I don't understand, but it's just sad, and we do need some type of gun control because whatever they have that's going on now, it's not making it. Number one, the guns are already out there, so they need to come up with a solution on how to get them back. Because they're already out there. It seems like everybody, when a 5-year-old can take a gun to school and kindergarten and show his classmates, something is definitely wrong. Something is going
Yeah,
on.
I'm faulting the
and-
parents. Because at the end of the day, when you have a firearm in the presence of any kids or in your home, period,
But
it's supposed to be in a
Here,
safe box.
The last
Regardless of what
What's
it,
going
I
on.
don't care.
okay,
if
you
you're
do
law
blame the
enforcement,
parents.
It's
but
supposed to be in a safe box. When you go and you take that vow to get that firearm and you sign off for that, you are vowing that you are taking safety for that firearm. So anything that happens to that, it connects back to you.
Okay,
yeah.
but what about the incident?
Actually, what's supposed to happen with that firearm, if you have a license, okay, it's supposed, like she said, supposed to be in a lock box. Okay, you're supposed to take the handcuffs, put it
Put
through
it
the
on the
barrel,
barrel.
and through the thing, so the trigger, so it
Trigger
can't
goes
be
Trigger
used.
lock.
Yeah,
You
well,
must
because you
have,
have the key
double
to get
key
it.
lock.
That's right.
And then you
Yeah.
must use a lock on the weapon itself. Okay, so
right.
once a child gets his hands on a weapon and it doesn't have no locking mechanisms in it, the parent is at fault.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's not. However, this 5-year-old boy went over to a cousin's house and got the gun. It wasn't at his parents' house.
It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I mean the person
The
whoever's gun
parent is
it
still
is.
responsible
Right.
for that
But
weapon.
how does the parent know that this person has a gun in their house? What if the parent didn't know?
It's the cousin's
Even
fault
if they
because the
don't know,
cousins are
it
supposed
should
to
be
have
secured
precaution.
and locked away
Definitely,
so that
that's
the
what
kid
I'm saying,
cannot
but I'm
get their
saying-
hand on it.
If I send my son to Harry's house,
Right.
and Harry has a gun, I don't know that Harry has a gun.
But the
It's
kid
why
knows,
you
and that
need-
kid should know
the
better than to
kid
touch
steals
that
the
gun
gun
because
from
it
Harry's
doesn't
house
bel-
and take it to school.
Again, it belongs. Again, the blame goes back on the parent because your child shouldn't be going to nobody's house
They take
taking
something
nothing that don't
out.
belong to them.
That's right.
That's true too.
It's that simple. We got to start raising these kids right. Everybody's afraid to chastise their kids or punish them
They-
because they're afraid they're gonna call ACS and all that.
Call-
Come on, you
yeah,
gotta be a
Didn't
stand.
nobody call
You gotta take
ACS
a
on me
stand.
for when I had.
You gotta take a stand.
When I
I'm
did-
not
yeah.
saying that you're supposed to abuse your kids,
No,
but
you
gotta
discipline is
discipline them.
necessary.
Exactly.
Discipline is necessary.
But you know what? A lot of parents are starting to raise their kids like with self-defense, like teaching them how to fight and all that, because they know everything's messed up. So they'd be like, just in case, I want to teach you this.
It's
what I mean?
nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
but
teaching them
But even with
self-defense.
that, because that's all I did growing up. I took boxing, goju, karate, whatever it was.
Goju?
Goju is a form of martial arts.
Okay.
Okay, and again, my thing was the discipline behind it.
Yeah, 'cause
You
they
didn't
teach
learn
you
it to
that.
go
They didn't
hurt
teach you to go
nobody.
hurt.
You
You
learned
needed
it
to
for a
discipline
defense mechanism, how to discipline yourself.
That's right.
So again, and the other side of the coin is I taught my sons how to use their hands and how to defend themselves. But I'm not going to teach them more than me because they're not going to run
Right.
up on me.
Hello.
It's that simple.
Next thing you
I'm
know, they
lots
be
of
knocking you
minds
upside
now.
your
Like you
head.
have to. Like it's just something you have to teach them just for their own safety reasons. But it's not you teaching them with the understanding of it's a defense mechanism, not this
To
is
hurt
what you
some-
go
yeah,
to harm
to-
somebody else. But if you get into a situation as such, this is what you do.
And
Right.
that could be what's lacking because a lot of kids has commit suicide over being bullied.
Right.
And I think if they knew how to, what you said,
Defend themselves
or
and protect
whatever,
themselves,
yeah,
right.
that
A
they
little bit
that the
better.
bullying wouldn't. It will still affect them, but they'll be able to be strong enough
Right.
to
Opposed to
fight
committing
back.
suicide.
Yeah.
That's like
I'm sorry. Even in some cases when it comes to bullying, it's really not even that the kid might not know how to defend themselves. There's a fear factor
Yeah,
that
they
goes in
scared,
with
yeah.
that. And once a person is afraid, two things happen. Either they're going to react spontaneously and something's going to happen, or they're going to revert and be depressed or go back into their shell, and they might not say nothing. That's why communication is so important with these children. Don't get your child to a point that they're not able to talk to you about serious things.
exactly.
And
That's key right there. And doctors don't know everything.
No, they
Okay,
don't.
they don't know everything. So because I heard someone say that the doctor told them not to discipline their kid, not to hit their kid, because then they grow up to hit people and be abusers to women. That's not
Necessarily.
necessarily true, because like you said, you have to teach them discipline. Now, I remember, when I was growing up, a lot of kids in the neighborhood did go to karate classes and stuff like that, and they went to the Boys and Girls Club. There has to be something that you can take your kid for them to get an outlet so they can get disciplined, so they'll know how to defend themselves instead of, the little boy, what's the little boy's name that committed suicide
I
just
don't know his
recently?
name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Because he was bullied. Like, that's horrible. For a kid to have to go, for a mother to have that would make me want to go out there and beat every little kid's ass that was bothering my child.
But the thing is, there's so many kids doing it. Like that's their only
And it's
go-to.
like,
yeah,
you're this
yeah.
one egg and everybody else is, and it's bad.
And I
Yeah,
guess
It really
but
another-
see,
is.
again, to a point, social media again glorifies some of this stuff
Yeah.
because they put too much out in the open and people don't understand why it's there. And yeah, this one was bullied and they died, and this one was bullied and killed himself. But come on, you got to start teaching people. You got to educate them why you should not be doing these things. Not just put it out there for them to understand that it's happening. You got to do something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
then
About
and then
it,
there's so many parents that don't take the time out with their kids. There's a lot. There's too. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put this out there, and that's it. It's too many young people raising kids.
Children, where you raising children?
Yes, it's
and the
like
problem with children.
16, 17-year-olds should not be having babies. I'm sorry. They should not be.
No, they shouldn't.
Not
No, they
at this
shouldn't.
age and time. Maybe back years ago when there wasn't nothing else to do or whatever. That's something
Nothing else to
different.
do.
But right now, there's plenty of things for them to go to school, get an education, be able to provide for your family if you're going to have one. You can't be providing for your family, taking care of kids, buying milk, Pampers, all that at McDonald's.
But like you said, if they don't have responsible parents or
Right.
adults in their life, they don't know any better.
Yep.
Who's there to teach them to not do that? That's all they know.
You know,
Everyone's the same.
I don't know about other communities, but I know in the communities that I grew up in, the reason for young sisters and young women getting pregnant was because they were looking for love, because they wasn't getting it at home,
And that's what it
and
is
they
now,
thought
too.
having a baby
Same thing
would
was
bring them
gonna
that
play
love
that
that they
void.
desired. You know, and it's just sad.
Even
Yeah,
as an
that-
adult, you think having a baby would give you that love that you
That-
was looking
that-
for. Sometimes that's what you think of having a baby for. That's probably why. And then when they have it, it's like, ugh, yeah.
No, it has to start off, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you talk. It has to start off with self-love. You first have to love yourself. Love yourself more than anybody in the world would love you, and then others will follow.
But some people don't know how to
Right.
love
Right,
themselves. They gotta be
absolutely. Some
taught
people wasn't
sometimes.
given that.
Nobody.
Yeah.
There's
Because if
always
you
a
grow up
poli-
in a household and you never was receiving that, like I know someone that's never, she'll tell you quick as day, like, I'm not an emotional person, I'm not an
Yeah.
affectionate person. So at the end of the day, like, that's what her kids will reciprocate, because now they don't know how to be emotional and they don't know how to give it
That's
to her
sad.
because she
It is.
can't give it to them. And you know, we talk about it because it's like that's something that they need, but now it's leading down a path
It's a
of
cycle.
danger,
Yeah.
because it's like they're looking for it now on the outside, and when they get it from the outside, now you want to come gun ho like and you can't, because you
I was
got to look
almost
at
scared
you
when
because
you
you
did that.
didn't give it.
To them.
So now how
Absolutely.
can they know
What it
to
looks
look-
like.
what-
Well,
right.
Yeah, they
I'm a
don't know what
perfect
it looks
example
like.
of that. My mother showed no affection in the household. She was the type of mother, you do what I tell you to do, and that's it. Don't let me have to tell you again. Okay, that was her love. You got food on the table, roof over your head, clothes on your back. That's love. That was love to her.
Right.
You know. So again, what I had to wind up doing is realizing that was a void in my life. And then when I started having children, I had to realize I had to show them that type of love. I had to be affectionate because I didn't get it. And luckily, I had sense enough to realize that was something that was missing in my life that I had to give back to my children. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have that wisdom. They don't know how to
They don't
how
know
to
how
see
to.
those things and accept what it is and try to do better.
Yeah.
That's and that was funny.
Oh,
I
Harry
thought about
wants to
that.
say
Oh,
something.
go ahead.
Like, he been trying to go.
Oh,
for
Harry,
like,
yeah.
you ain't got to raise your hand. Just chime in, man.
All right. Yeah. All right. But this whole conversation ties into something I want to talk about. Anyways, like mental health. Just like, you know, there's a lot of like community places where, at least where I'm at, and even with the gun thing, at my church they had a thing where like you can hand in guns, no questions
No
asked.
questions asked.
You know, just like deposit thing. And there's one or two churches like over by me that had that, you know,
That's
just to
good.
try and get them off the street. And there's more and more things going around, like for the bullying and whatnot. Like, you know, there's getting a lot of like social groups, like, you know, kids talking to other kids that are going through the same thing. You know, so like it's best if everybody knows that they're not like going through it alone, because like a lot of people, when shit happens to them, they'll be like, this is like, why me?
Why
It's only
me?
me.
Yep.
You know, so they can meet, you know, some people that are saying the same thing.
That's true.
Yeah. The key to it is they're you know, they have the precincts where you can go and take the guns, and you know, like the churches and stuff like that, what you're saying. But how do we get them to do that?
They'll be scared too.
Not,
Yeah.
I don't think it's they're scared. There's so many people that want to have these guns, that want to, because they want to protect themselves. So if somebody try to come at them or disrespect them or whatever, they can just pull out this gun, and now everybody's afraid. You know, they shooting and killing people for nothing because you stepped on somebody's shoe, or because you bumped me too hard, or because you disrespect me in front of my clique, or, you know, it's just, how do we get them to just stop?
That's like what I was telling you about the 10-year-old girl that passed away because of that road rage, and the guy followed them home and came out with the gun and shot at them and killed the little girl. Why? It was like
See,
wasn't-
it's
wasn't- you
stuff
could
like
just
that.
keep going like
I seen a thing yesterday though, you know, 'cause you know about the whole Nipsey Hussle thing, but they had a you know, like all the gangs march
Right. They
together.
all marched together and they would communicate.
Yeah,
See, now that's a big step.
But this happens every time, and like a little bit of time will go by, then it's
they'll
back to the
stop.
same
Yep.
bullshit.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like you
That goes with everything.
I just hope that it does stay. They do stay united and they band together, do something positive together.
Because at the end of the day, you gotta remember these kids is watching them.
Yeah.
And that's
is
the sad
kids.
part, you know. And it's kids and kids, so they're watching it and they feel that that's what it is. Like I had to explain to my son, because I seen a feed about with him and two friends. They were having a conversation and they was like, you know, repping gang, and I'm like, do y'all even know what gang is? Like, you understand? But he's like, nah, it's not me. Like, but they were having the conversation, so I had to ask them, like, well, what is it? What's a Crip? What's this? Like, y'all don't even know what real gang life is. Gang life, so I had to educate them to tell them, like, back in the day, gang life was when you did something, they wasn't coming for you. They was coming for your mother, your sister, your brother. They was sending a piece of your finger home. They was sending.
Yeah.
It was real. What y'all talking about? Just ain't nothing. Like, y'all stop trying to be a part of something and create something better than what it is that you see through social media or you see through the rappers and all that. Be your own person. They was
Yeah,
like,
definitely
oh, that's
that.
real, but it's still But it's real because they don't
That's all they
have
know,
those people,
yeah.
right? They don't have those people that know, so they think I'm a little harder on my son because I subject him to
No,
certain things.
you are.
And I do that because of
You have to be because
Yeah.
basically, I mean, your son's father is in his life, but you're a single parent.
Right.
So you have to be that's your son. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You don't want him to get caught out there and caught up in this mess that's going on in the streets right now.
right.
Cause he gonna learn something from somewhere. So
Right.
you
If he
gotta-
gonna learn something from somebody and somewhere,
be
it better
you.
be you.
Right, right. But see, the key is not to give these kids a false sense of reality.
Right.
And that's the problem, you know, and they don't realize how real it is until they've had that gun in their hand and they committed a murder. Now they're locked up and they're like, oh man, I
Scared,
messed
yeah.
up. Now they're scared. Now they don't know which way to turn. Now they're depressed and now the mental illness sets in because his anxiety sets in and all these other things and the bipolarism. See, it's really a cultural thing. We have to be effective in our communities to make sure that we're providing our children with the necessary tools so they can grow up to be great, successful adults. And we're
Definitely.
not doing that.
And all that stuff, you know, that fuels the drug shit that's going on. You know,
Yeah, because-
everybody wants to get out of that feeling.
they're being depressed and stuff, so they
Yeah.
do things.
Yeah, even with that, substance abuse. I mean, on any level, okay, it's just a Band-Aid. Okay, when that high wears off, guess what?
Right.
Those
Go off.
situations
Still
are
sitting
still
there.
there. They don't go away.
It's not going nowhere
And you
because
got
now
more
you got more
problems.
time to think about it.
Right, absolutely.
As you coming down from that high, you like,
That's why it's what you said is good that we have more resources to help people because there's a whole bunch of us that don't know how to help ourselves. So if we have people that we could go to help us and figure out how do we figure out our problems and get through it, it'll be better. But we don't have that, or we don't know how to look for it.
Right, right.
because it's definitely there. I mean,
It's not promoted enough.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
not.
thing.
Right.
because
absolutely.
the system is designed for minorities to fall.
I wish
Well,
I
well,
remember the guys-
I wouldn't say that necessarily. What it is a level of ignorance because all the government's major cities and the government itself, they allocate funding for things like that.
Yeah, but if
Okay,
they
to
don't tell
every-
us about it, if they don't tell you about it, how do you know?
But they do tell you about it. But what happens is, they'll rather watch somebody getting jumped on social media than going to the information that's beneficial to them, so that they can get some help. You know what I mean? Just like we have situations where you put out information, but nobody will read it. You'll put it in their hands; they will not
wouldn't
read the
read it.
information.
Because
and
it's too
that's
much
sad
to
me.
read.
And you could Google
Well, there's-
anything.
That's what they.
Yeah.
That's what they
Yes.
feel. They
You
feel.
on YouTube,
You give
so-
them
Yes.
a pamphlet or something, they're not reading it because
Yeah.
they don't have the time to read.
Listen,
They don't think it's important.
ever since I was a little kid, you give me something, I want to know what it is. Okay, and once I read up on it and I figured it out, either I could do it or I couldn't do it. And most of the time, I was able to do it. You know what I mean? They just got to have a drive and a zeal and an ability to say, I want to do better. I want better. I want
Yeah,
more.
that's
you know what I
it.
mean? And it takes role models and them seeing people in a positive light that are able to do those things.
That's
Not
exactly
always
where
the
it
drug
starts.
dealer,
Yeah.
not always the basketball player,
Yeah.
not always the dude on the corner slinging, not always the dude with the gun that's robbing people. Okay, we got lawyers, we got doctors. Do you really know that black women are the most educated women in the whole entire United States. They got more degrees than anybody on earth. You hear me?
I agree.
So if that's our dynamic, why aren't those women creating businesses and jobs and nonprofit organizations that will assist in the upbringing of our children? And not just on the women, the men too, because we got a lot of males out there that are in organizations, that have organizations that are nonprofit and have the ability to raise up a nation, and they're not doing it. They're stuck in silos. You know what I mean? And they're not opening their doors so that the community could come in.
You have some people that they're afraid. You know, they're scared to do things because they're afraid of failing themselves. But sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith, and you just got to go out there and you just got to do it.
Every successful person failed though, so it comes with it.
Everybody ain't gonna win in the first go round.
Do you know why entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs? Because they're risk takers. They're willing to take their last to invest in what they believe in. Okay, faith without works is dead. And faith is not just about you saying, I believe, and sitting there waiting for something to happen. No, you got to believe, but you got to go out there and you got to walk that pavement. You got to go into the areas that's going to bring you that success. Okay, and this is what we should be instilling in our children. From day one. Don't depend on the school to do everything. And that's our problem. We're always dependent on the school to educate our children and bring them around. Absolutely.
You can't depend on somebody else to educate yours.
Absolutely.
That's why I think Nipsey Hussle was so important. Like, he's the perfect example of who our generation is. He was a Crip, right? First, he got out of it, and look what he was doing for the community. He went back to the community and tried to help them out.
He bought a strip mall.
A low income. They said he was putting up a low income.
Most of the people that he hired to work there was the peoples from the streets, like you know, and that to me. And the crazy thing is, on Sunday we was at work, and I kept hearing them talking about, yo, that's messed up what they did to dude, and you know, and I never heard the name, so I'm like, okay. Then I go on social media and I see rest in peace Nipsey Hussle. And I'm like, what? Now, everybody knows I watched the Breakfast Club Rewind. And before I heard that happen, his interview was one of the last interviews that I seen. And I was like, and he was so, like, this dude, he was a real down-to-earth dude.
Humble.
Like, he was humble. He knew where he came from. He knew where he wanted to go. And he was on his way there. So to take this young brother, 33 years old, take his life for him, for what? And I heard that one of his friends had just got out of prison.
And that's why he
took him to the store to give the guy some clothes so he can
go to his
something.
family looking presentable. That's why he was there, that he didn't tell the security guards and everything that he was going to the store.
So with all his family, he was just going to
going to give him some clothes to get him a start.
Yeah, but
the very next day he was supposed to meet up with the LAPD to stop gun violence.
Yeah, they crucified Jesus Christ at 33.
Yes, well, he's 33 years old. It's numbers.
You know, so again, people look at numbers, but they don't look at numbers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Selena
and this thing is I think is bigger than just a neighborhood thing. You know what I mean? Again, our government gets involved in things and they do things to our people to keep them from encouraging us and helping us get to that next level.
And I do believe that.
You know?
I believe that.
So again, we talk about what I think it was Thursday, either Wednesday or Thursday was the day that Martin Luther King had got assassinated, of the anniversary of his death.
It was the
4th.
Right. And you see nothing. Nothing.
They mentioned it on the radio, but that's the furthest it went.
You know, come on.
It was the furthest it
He
went.
was a great leader in our community.
Because it was the same day as
why
Maya
not
Angelou's
pay him
birthday.
right? Why not pay him homage?
Yeah.
Why not do something special for that day to show that we for what he spoke on
That should be a
and what he
national holiday,
meant.
too.
Okay, we should be like, you know what? This is a perfect time to speak nonviolence. Based on his death, you know what I mean? So again, we got to come back together as a community. We got to take action, okay? We got to put our foot forward, and we got to stop depending on others to do for us what we can do for ourselves.
Hey, man, go ahead now. Go ahead now. But
She
yeah.
go.
And then but everybody has been showing love for this young brother too.
He was doing so much.
He was doing a lot. I know that. I mean, I'm not trying to glorify what everybody was doing, but the fact that Jay-Z set up a $15 million
Fund
trust fund for his kids, I thought that was like one of the nicest things that he could have done. And every time I heard someone say something about this brother, they
good
always
things.
said something good about him.
Yeah, nothing bad.
Because
we all was
everybody
in-
has a
we all was in a
past.
little-
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he
Everybody
got
has
out of
a-
his past, and that should be a role model right,
Right.
there. That's what I'm
Absolutely.
saying. He's an example of this generation.
Right.
Okay, I did wrong. I realized I was doing wrong. I got out of it.
And I
He
turned
had
it
his
around.
own independent label. He was getting his royalties. He was getting all this money.
Yep.
So
And he put it back.
Yeah, and then he put it back to community. How many people do that? Go back to their community and help their
Right
own
there
community.
in the same hood where
Yeah,
you
where
grew
you
up
grew
in.
up in.
Not many
Nobody- I
people.
don't
They
know
go to the
nobody.
community, but they
Be
go
somebody
upstate
else,
somewhere.
or they go to some
Yeah.
other country to help, but they don't do your own community. This is where you live. This
Right.
is your people. This is your family. So
But-
he was a great man, whether you knew him or not. He was a
Absolutely.
great man. He was doing great things, and I'm sorry. I feel like somebody had to try to stop that.
Yeah, but
It had nothing to do with gang violence. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here's the reason why a lot of times a lot of the brothers that do make it don't stay in a community or don't want to be in a community because they already know
know that
what
the
it
hate
is. You know what I
coming, yeah.
mean? You know, even a person like Jay-Z is like, you can't tell him nothing about Marcy Projects. You hear me? But for him to live there now, he know he
can't-
just
yeah, he
can't.
can't do that.
Right.
You know,
'cause he know
but
it's
he
gonna be a
gives
good
back.
thing.
Yeah, he definitely
Yeah,
That
does.
dude keeps
No,
He
that
keeps it
that much
there.
I know.
money back into the community.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like what he did from Nipsey Hussle's children. He didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah, he just
Right.
did it.
It wasn't even second thought for him. This is what I'm doing. Whoever don't like it, so
It's
what?
on them. Yeah.
And
You know what I
the
mean?
thing about him is like he don't like the
Glorified.
publicity of it.
Yeah, he don't
wanna
need the
be glorified.
limelight
He don't like
because
that.
he know
just
who
wants
he
to do
is.
it right.
He
And
know who he
knows
is in
why
God's
he's
kingdom.
doing it. Right.
You don't need to get the what is it called?
Accolades.
Yeah, for doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it for me, for my people, and
Mm-hmm.
so we need more of that
Yeah, absolutely.
than all this fighting and Facebook, and you see people, kids fighting each other and shooting each other and doing stupidness. Like I don't understand.
I
This-
think the worst things that I see on Facebook, I mean, besides the fighting, yes, that is. But the fighting that I'm talking about, when you see women out there fighting and ripping their clothes off
Yeah.
and just throwing down in the street like
It's
they
disgusting.
just gutter
Yeah.
rats.
It's disgusting.
I think it's the most disgusting. And people that post stuff like that, you know better than they
They
are.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. See, the problem is the values, the principles, and the morals are out the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Nobody
I
got
mean,
them.
I happened to be looking at one the other day. Here's these sisters out here with heels on, dressed to the nines. Okay, they got they lace fronts on, and they out there fighting.
How you know it was a lace front?
Because
Came
one of them came off. One of them got snatched off. Actually. And all I could do is shake my head and pray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we have to change the dynamic of who we are as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Those young ladies that's out there doing those things, the elder women got to start
Say
going into
something.
the communities and pulling them in.
I
Start
see,
talking to
I
them.
see some
Ladies.
older women out there doing stuff like that too.
But those are the ignorant ones, and they need to be pulled in too.
Yeah,
See, you
somebody-
can't
Yeah.
always look at a person's age and say,
If they-
"Oh,
Exactly.
you should know
they
better."
what they
No,
know.
it don't work
Because some
that
of them
way.
don't.
Yeah, there's
A lot
young
of them
people who
don't,
know
Because
better.
here's what people don't understand about ignorance is that if nobody ever taught you or showed you, you don't know.
You know,
That's at the
That's
end of the day.
ignorance,
Ignorance is not a stupid thing. It's just you just
Don't
don't know. Okay,
It
and we
becomes
have to
stupid when you
address
don't.
that
Yeah.
in our communities. Okay, and if we don't address it, then as they get older, they still not gonna know. So how do we correct that? We can't keep talking about, oh, look at you, you're at such and such an age, you should know better. No, they
Gotta
just
teach
don't
them.
know.
Yeah.
They just don't know. If nobody ever teaches you how to do something the right way and you've been doing it the wrong way all your life,
continue to do
guess what you think is right? The wrong way.
That's the wrong way.
You know? So we got to re-educate people. Okay? We got to
Everybody,
bring them back
yeah.
into the void. We got to bring them up to a point where they're just re-transformed in their mind and their spirit and as a person so that when people see them, they see the light of God on them. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
A lot of that too is you know, just I know personally that a lot of the help that's out is in anonymous programs. You know, so and that's like I said, that's not really promoted. You gotta seek it out, and a lot of people are too like ashamed to even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
help.
true too. But that's what we're gonna start. We got to get out. I gotta stop saying it, and just start doing it. Get out there in these communities and see what's going on, and sit down at some of these meetings and see what people are really talking about. See what because knowledge is power.
That's what I
Yes.
like about the group that I'm in. We are Phenomenal Women because they had a bullying workshop, and they had kids there and the parents there, and a lot of them didn't know, how to deal with their anger or the bullying. It was like, what do you do if you get bullied? Oh, I don't tell my mother. Or they was saying, and you was like, oh no, this is what you try to do. And it was like, they was being real honest as kids,
Right.
and they was saying how they get angry, they hit the wall or whatever. That's not. Healthy, try to, do this
need
and
to-
do that, So I think if you have more of those workshops, then a lot of kids, a lot of adults will know how to handle it because some parents don't know either how to deal with their kids being bullied or kids being a bully.
Right.
You got to know
Yeah.
your kids when they come home, like they said, when they come home, your kids, like, and they come in, something's different. What's wrong? You can talk to me. What's going on? No, never
But-
mind. No, what's going on? Talk to me. What happened? A lot of us don't do that.
Yeah. You got kids? Anyway. She said a
Yo,
lot of
so
us don't do
silly.
that.
You're so silly. I said, you're so silly.
No. I was like, you got kids?
Listen. Once you've been in our communities and you've grown up, and there's one kid that knows you, you got kids.
Yeah, you got kids.
Because
You
got
it's a
kids.
village.
Believe
It's
me.
not just you don't have to give birth to have kids.
That's
I
right.
didn't
I
say
gave birth
that.
one time, but I got many.
I
many?
bet.
I got a lot. I have kids that I used to teach when they were in the 3rd grade, and to this day, they still communicate with me.
That's
and it's
good.
like I'm their big sister, and they like, oh, that's my mom. Like you'll see them post me, happy birthday to my mom. They like your mother, like she, yeah. But that's because we've built that relationship. So it's not.
Yeah, I
you
know.
could be an auntie or godmother, and you got kids.
I saw
I
that.
have a
I
lot.
was a mother
I have a
before
lot
I
of
was a
kids
mother.
too. I have a
You
lot.
already
Thanks
know
to
that.
my brother.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I saw
When y'all
that.
adopt me,
Yeah, can we look?
Yeah.
you already adopted.
I saw it on Facebook where there was 2 kids. It was old. 2 kids was fighting, and the older guy saw them fighting, so he came here too. He was like, "No, don't do this." See, they all laughing at you. You're a joke. This. You shouldn't be that. Your brothers shake hands. I'm not leaving till you shake hands. And they shook hands. They said that after that, the 2 kids
Became best
became
friends.
they became best friends, and he became their big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
because that's what they need.
Do they still have those programs too? Big Brother programs?
They do,
Well,
but they're in silos again. Okay, they're hard to find. The problem with a lot of the programs is that a lot of these individuals are working jobs where their hours aren't flexible. There was a time where we had jobs, it was a 9 to 5, and that was it. Now they got all these other jobs with all these different hours, so it's kind of difficult for you to be able to subject yourself to being a big brother and say like you work in certain hours and your available time is between 9 at night till 7 in the morning. The kid's supposed to be
Kids
home,
sleep. Yeah.
sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how can you mentor that young man?
Yeah.
And that's why I say the churches got to get involved.
They do.
The churches got to come up with programs that's right there in the community. And no, you shouldn't have to be a church member in order to get access to that program. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
Like
too
my-
many churches for that to happen. There's like 3 churches on one block, and all y'all can't get together and do
Absolutely,
something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about the fellowship.
Sometimes you find 4 or
of the
5
brethren.
churches. If you go to Harlem, there's a church on
Yo, y'all got
every
3
single
churches.
corner.
1, 2, and
Yep.
3. I'm like, I don't know which one to listen to.
No, here it is. You got the big church on the corner block, right on the main strip. Then you got 5, 6, 7,
Yeah,
8,
little
9,
ones.
10
Little
little
ones.
ones. Then you got
You got
another big
big
one,
one on the
and
end.
then you got 6, 7, 8, 9. There's so many
There's so
churches
many
out
that
here.
you gotta
You know,
do
there's
anything
no
for.
reason why our community can't come together and fellowship and
Exactly.
do what's right for our
And it
brethren.
doesn't make a difference to me what your religion is.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
You should. You
Whether
should
you
get together.
Baptist, Pentecostal, whatever, everybody needs to
community.
get together.
Just to
Exactly.
piggyback on what you said about like having the big brother programs, like my son's school, I give them credit because they're, Eagle Academy for young men. They're in all boroughs, but he's a part of a mentoring program. Like that's where he's at, like right now. Like they have a whole schedule for the year, and they're affiliated with 100 black men.
Oh, nice.
And they're cooperated with them, and they have million of mentors that come, and they all take one or two, and they'll have like his mentor that he had last year. This one he just got a new one recently because his mentor had to travel. So last year he had a mentor who was actually a parole officer. So they have all different ones, but it's
that's-
not, and I sit and I look at it, and at first he didn't want to be a part of it. He's been in this since the 6th grade. And he didn't want. He's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm like, look, you going.
Absolutely.
Even now, like he's in high school. He's like, why I still gotta go to mentoring? I'm like, because like it's a good. He's like, but we don't really do. And they have like different topics for them. Like
Right.
this week is the topic of growing pains and like how they can grow and how they can get involved with their brothers. And it's like a community thing, but they fight because it's all boys school, but it still teaches them, and they know that they have somebody they can go to, like the
Right.
big brothers, because
Absolutely.
even some of the seniors that were a part of the program that graduated, they now work in the school
That's
too,
good,
to
yeah.
to mentor them throughout the day. Like, yo, come sit with me real quick. So it's good. Some of them still have it, some don't, but we
Right.
do need those.
Absolutely.
Because I was a part of one too when I was growing up, and we had it in the church. It was actually youth night. We had like every week you had different things, but they don't do it no more really, and it's sad because they
Yeah.
need it. Because if the more of those that you have, it'll help a lot of these kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they ever have something specifically for girls?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well,
is it Big
for-
Sister or something different?
Well,
They have
they
big
have a
sisters,
sister.
too.
Yeah, they have big
Okay.
sisters too.
Well, even to tap into the Girl Scouts, the Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just talking about the Cub Scout.
Yeah, the
You
Cub
was-
Scout
what's
too.
the difference? Oh, cause you 2 years old, a cub.
First year Cub Scout, then you're
And then you become a Boy
Boy
Scout.
Scout. Become a Boy
Oh,
Scout.
that's
Stages.
cute. Oh,
yeah, and then
Then what happens
the
after you
last
become
is
a wolf?
Eagle Scout.
Right. Absolutely.
You went from a cub to a wolf.
yeah.
I can't.
The Bear
Oh.
Scout.
So now I'm Smokey, huh?
Hey, boo.
Smokey the Bear.
I need a picnic basket.
Oh, y'all got jokes today.
All right, so let's take a music break and let's get back with this interview with Crazy Harry.
Yes, go.
Neighborhood.
Chicky check,
Microphone check.
chicky
One.
check,
Microphone check. Two.
chicky check.
Microphone check.
You're
Three.
tuned to the sounds of the DRE.
Ain't the type of white dude sipping Bud Light. I'm the type with my nine screaming thug lights. A bad bitch, what a fucking night. You ain't shit, motherfucker, so it's fucking life. Fuck the DEA, IRS, and FBI. Never said I won't regret it till we start child. I don't never leave a paper trail. You best believe I'm a G, I will break the scale. I'm a hustler, give a fuck about a budget. I'm a gangster, give a fuck about the judges. I'm a monster, middle figure to you suckers. I'm a mobster, Mr. Untouchable. Can't fuck with me, I'm so on some other shit. On a road trip, gotta bring my other bitch. Not my other bitch, my other bitch. Every brick I flip, the more I'm like, fuck I'm
Chicky
rich.
check,
Microphone check.
chicky
One.
check,
Microphone check. Two.
chicky check.
Microphone check.
You're tuned to the sounds of the
chains on
DRE.
my neck. There was no sweat on my rap last time that I checked. I was selling in the set. Make $250,000, no sweat last time that I checked. I'm the streets voice out west. Legendary self-made progress. Last time that I checked. First you get the money, then respect, then the power and the come next. Last time that I checked. I've been self-made from the dribble. I was been saying I'm a killer. Playing no games with you. Pop clutch, switch lanes on you. I laid down the game for you. Taught you how to charge more than what they pay for you. Own the whole thing for you. Reinvest, double up, then explain for you. Gotta be love. Run the city, it gotta be cuz. It's for the pieces I took off the Monopoly board. Yeah, y'all false claims, it gotta be fraud. Just keep the hood about your mouth and you gotta be charged. I doubled up, tripled up, what? Banged on the whole game, I ain't give a nobody trippin', handle business, got my digits up. And when I drop, you know I'm about to last time that I checked. It was 5 chains on my neck. It was no smut on my rap last time that I checked. I was selling in the set, make $250,000, no sweat last time that I checked. I'm the streets voice out west, legendary self-made progress last time that I checked. First you get the money, then respect, then the power and the come next. Last time that I come through fly, no cosign, I ain't need radio to do mine. I done fine and I take my time and take my tribe. Every level that I crossed in this game like state lines, it was visionary. Either I'm genius or it's scary. Maybe it's both in this balance I deliver daily. For every in these streets trying to feed the babies. The single mama's working hard not to miss a payment. And dirty money get washed on royalty statements. Black owners in this game are powerful racists. Young in the set just doing it makeshift out the garage. How you end up in charge, it's how you end up in penthouses, end up in cars. It's how you start off a curb server, end up a boss. It's how you win the whole thing and lift up a cigar with sweat dripping down your face. Cause the mission